I watch episode 36 of Pokemon every year because I watch every episode of Pokemon every year. In episode 36, the bridge bike gang, the bridge isn't finished, the bikes are slow, and the gang is soft. Back in Greater Civilization, Ash and friends reach the cycling road, which in the anime takes the form of an unfinished bridge, a spanning structure set to connect to other lands. They are dissuaded from crossing on foot by Norman, who tells them that they wouldn't reach the other side before nightfall without bikes, and they believe him. It's literally a bridge too far. Misty reminds Ash why she's there in the first place. Their meet cute was theft and destruction of property. They are not friends. Their relationship is transactional and the transaction is pending. Ash and friends are Ash and debtors, but Ash's only character growth thus far is his current unwillingness to commit another vehicular theft. Priced out of pedaling, they loiter at the Pokemon Center, spinning their wheels because they don't have actual wheels to spin. As they sulk at the hospital in the hopes that the suffering of strangers will see them forward, a nurse passes by with a suitable subplot. She asks them to help her deliver medicine to sick Pokemon on the other side of the bicycle bridge because she's too busy, even though there's nobody else there. Hesitant to help, Nurse Joy sweetens the honey pot, incentivizing them with her standard issue medical bicycles. With something in it for them, they agree to aid the aid. As they leave, Brock displays that he also has no allegiance to Ash. Overcoming the initial obstacle, they begin their supposedly sanctioned transport of prescription drugs across state lines. Below them are the bandits, alluding to their past in this place. Stopping for sodas, Ash and friends congratulate themselves on a job half done when the bridge bike gang arrives. The bicycle gangsters roll deep. In their attempted exit, the unaffiliated out-of-towners hastily introduce themselves to Chopper, who has the severed head of a legendary Pokemon soldered to his handlebars. The counterculture code of conduct insists that they converse further with a kerfuffle. Brock loosens his allegiance even further before their Pokemon battle begins. Chopper's Golem is quickly defeated by Ash's Charmander, who now mirrors its master's arrogance. Tired of battles with Cloyster, who, like Golem, withdraws into its shell for safety. They mirror their master's emotional states as well, hiding themselves within their hard personas. Who's that Pokemon? Post-traumatic stress disorder. Shell shock. Misty hesitates to pick her Pokemon and her mindful foul invites itself into the fray. Her confusion summoned the confused. Psyduck puts the square in squaring up. The whimsical witlessness of her waddling ward de-escalates the Donnybrook. But Misty prefers barbarity and readies herself to hurl her bicycle at her beige-billed homie, but is interrupted by the entrance of the OGs on unicycles. The bikers boast about their betters. The bridge was the felons' first foray into organized crime. The bridge has been under construction since before the criminals were criminals. They are literally the original gangsters, from 2-bit to type shit. The parents of anarchy are idolized by the next generation of neglected reprobates. Ranked up, they instruct the young bloods to implicate themselves in their ongoing criminal activity. Before succumbing to gang mentality, a cavalry of cops interrupt their interruption in cars that seem to be safely traversing the bridge. Norman was a lobbyist for the bicycle industry. He gets kickbacks from the kickstands. Some people build build bridges to bring people together just so that they can control how those people are brought together. Some people build bridges with no intention of ever finishing them. The officer offers them a police escort, but then doesn't do that because helping people isn't actually her job. There's no interdepartmental synergy. As the storm sets in, the drug mules continue alone, whilst the hoodlums are still heated to rumble. They hype up the old guard who must now protect their rep. Another alternative mode of transportation they could have taken passes underneath them and raises the bridge. Both parties attempt to get air, and using physics only believable for a pre-adolescent audience, Ash and friends supersede the villains. But the rest of the crew is still set for a soggy squabble. At this final juncture, they state that they're delivering medicine. Helping the community is real type shit. They reach the Pokemon Center on the other side, they deliver the goods, and Shelter finally gets its fix of pure white powder. Ash and Misty get cool gang names, and Brock gets another lesson in consent. The episode ends with the villains emerging from the water, considering the scope of their suffering and consoling themselves with puns. Who knows if they would have continued their mischief if the government was competent. Lawlessness grows when the laws in place don't work. The sluggish pace of bureaucracy allows for self-regulated power structures to supplant their authority and invites further insubordination. With their reputations tarnished, they pedal through the wet sand. The bridge over troubled waters did not ease their minds. They are still unwilling to confront their earlier individual trauma to find some semblance of selflessness that would secure a sense of empathy and break the cycle. To be continued.